Task 5 talks about complying with regulated record-keeping requirements. Task 5 has 2 qualifying criteria. Let's look at Task 5, Qualifying Criteria 1. Explain the record-keeping obligations by a representative as imposed by the FAIS and FIC Acts. Note this important responsibility for every representative. It is the responsibility of an FSP to make sure its key individuals and reps comply with fit and proper requirements. This also means that an FSP must take reasonable steps to ensure that its reps comply with the Code of Conduct and other regulations which apply to the business. This requirement extends to an FSP's duty to keep and maintain records. So, what kind of records does an FSP need to keep? There are different types of records and documents that an FSP must keep and maintain. These records must be kept at all times and for a period of at least 5 years after the relationship has been terminated with the clients. Here is the summarized list of those records. Records relating to cancellations, complaints, and compliance issues. A register of all representatives. Record of advice or financial needs analysis. Electronic voice logged recordings or transcript of telephonic advertising. Business governance documents. Documents relating to the safekeeping of financial products and funds. These records and documents must be kept safe from destruction in hard copy and/or electronic form. An FSP may outsource this record-keeping function to a third party. However, the FSP will need to ensure that it has free and easy access to those records at all times when needed. It's also important to highlight that an FSP must take care not to compromise the client's confidentiality in the process of maintaining client records and documents. Now, let us discuss each type of record in more detail. Let's start with cancellations, complaints, and compliance issues. According to Section 18 of the FAIS Act, an FSP must maintain records that relate to the following: a record of known, premature or early cancellation of transactions or financial products by clients of the provider. A formal record of complaints and how they were resolved. A record that proves that an FSP is complying with its license conditions. Cases of non-compliance with the FAIS Act, together with the reasons for such non-compliance and how each was rectified. Records that provide evidence or proof that an FSP's representatives continue to comply with the FAIS Act at all times. The next type of record is the Register of Representatives. This record must be the same as the record that the registrar has in its database, as proof that all its representatives act on behalf of the FSP. A register of representatives is an important piece of record. It captures the details of an FSP's representatives and its key individuals. These details include personal information such as names and business addresses and contact details. the fit and proper requirements the representative has acquired and still to obtain, license categories and financial products that the representatives are appointed for and render financial services on, the details of license categories and financial products for which key individuals are approved for also need to be on the register. These records also allows the Commissioner to maintain a central database of all the FSP's representatives and key individuals. It is from the same database that annual levies for each representative and key individual are calculated. The register of representatives must always be kept updated. An FSP must send updated records to the registrar within 15 days of any changes. Then we have a record of advice or record of the financial needs analysis. A record of advice or record of financial needs analysis documents the process followed when financial services, like financial planning, were rendered to a client. It provides proof that an FSP, KI, or rep conducted a suitable exercise before recommending a product that is suitable to the needs of a client. It is a very important document. Advice or record of financial needs analysis also protects an FSP, KI, or rep if there is a complaint resulting from the advice given to a client. Without this proof of record, an FSP or KI or rep, through its representatives and key individuals, will be in breach of the FAIS Act. As the saying goes, if it's not documented, then it's not done. So, what should be on a record of advice or record of financial needs analysis? Well, at the very least, a record of advice or record of financial needs analysis should include the following: a brief summary of the personal information and material facts on which the advice was based, the financial products which were considered, the product or products recommended with an explanation of why, disclosures of advantages or disadvantages this product was recommended, whether products that are recommended are replacement products or not. Information must be provided or disclosed about the different terms, fees, waiting periods, and penalties. If the advice given to a client results in a client buying a financial product or conclusion of a financial transaction, an FSP must then give the client a copy of the advice within 30 days. The next item relates to advertising and direct marketing. FSPs who advertise financial services by telephone must record all telephonic conversations. This requires an FSP to put in place proper procedures and systems to store and retrieve such electronic and voice-logged recordings. A good example is a call center business that sells financial services. An FSP must be able to provide a copy of these telephonic records to a client or the registrar within 7 days, if asked to do so. If the telephone conversations don't lead to a sale of a financial product, then an FSP will not be forced to keep a copy of the record after 45 days. The next type of records that an FSP is required to keep and maintain are business documents. For business documents, it's all about governance. Governance, governance, governance. And nothing says governance like systems and procedures. It's important for an FSP to keep and maintain documents that describe how the FSP operates. An FSP's business plan can capture all of these. An FSP's business plan can set out the following: risk management policies, procedures, and systems, accounting policies and procedures, sound remuneration policies, business continuity documents with disaster recovery plans, processes to monitor and evaluate how effective the business processes are. A business plan is ultimately writing down all the functions, processes, and procedures a business is supposed to do and follow on a day-to-day basis. The last type of record relates to the safekeeping of proof that clients paid in their money or premiums and a record of the financial products the clients have chosen. An FSP that receives or holds money or premiums of financial products chosen by a client must be able to show how the money and the copy of financial products chosen are kept safe. Let's start with clients' monies that are deposited in a bank account. An FSP must have a separate bank account that is used to receive funds and premiums from clients. This bank account must be separate from other bank account or accounts of an FSP for its own overheads or running of a business. There are certain exceptions that are applicable to short-term insurance financial products. Once the money has been deposited into the separate bank account controlled by an FSP, who pays for the bank charges? The FSP or the client? Well, that's a good question. The bank charges are for the FSP's account, except for fees on the deposit or withdrawal of the money by the client. What about interest earned, if any? Who pockets that? Well, interest earned will be for the client. When it comes to record keeping, the bank statements would serve as records that show the flow of the money held for clients. But when it comes to clients' money or premiums that is received by an FSP, in cash, a receipt must be issued. This will be proof of how much the client has paid and when. Once an FSP receives the money or premiums, it must deposit into a separate bank account within a day of receipt. Sometimes, clients hand over important documents to FSPs for safekeeping. Some examples are title deeds or ownership documents. Think of a title deed that is handed over to a bank as security of a loan. In this case, an FSP must issue a written confirmation that clearly identifies such documents. The overall responsibility here is for an FSP and KI to ensure that the client's monies and personal documents are safeguarded and remain accounted for, and should be handled according to the client's instructions. We hope you enjoyed the video and learned a lot. Please make sure to check out our other RE videos.